Misty is always kept busy arranging the trains for the engines. She is an asset to the railway, but sometimes the engines take her for granted. One morning, Misty didn't feel well. She managed to shunt the coaches, but broke down while arranging Peggy's train. "Oh, my engine! It doesn't feel right," she groaned. Misty's driver informed Baron Starkey at once. Peggy was very worried about her. "I hope the fitter can make you better," she said. Once Peggy left with her train, Gunther shunted Misty into the shed. Soon Baron Starkey and the fitter arrived. Fred came to the yard too. Everyone waited anxiously as Misty was examined. The fitter had dire expressions upon finishing.
"It seems that your engine has been given dirty diesel oil. It has caused slight damage to the engine,"
he informed.
"So what happens now?"
asked Baron Starkey. The fitter sighed.
"I'm afraid your engine must go to a proper workshop to get fixed. Repairing her will be costly, you know,"
he revealed. His news was terrifying for poor Misty. "Please, Baron Starkey," she begged pathetically. Baron Starkey frowned, and then gave a small smile.
"Money is no object,"
he declared.
"I will make preparations right away."
That evening Baron Starkey finally came to the shed.
"Bad news, I'm afraid. The dirty oil was given to lots of other diesels. It has been found and destroyed, but unfortunately the workshops are bombarded with engines needing drained and slight repairs. But there is a workshop close to London that is willing to fix you. There is currently a waiting list due to the amount of sick diesels, so you will be away for at least a few days,"
he told. Misty was thankful that she was going to be fixed, but was very fearful at the thought of leaving home. "When do I go?" she asked nervously.
"First thing in the morning,"
replied Baron Starkey. Early next morning it was still dark. The engines wished Misty good luck, as Peggy prepared to take her to Briscoe Central. She was soon on a flatbed, as an engine pulled her down the main line. Each wheel turn took her further away from home. She missed it already. Meanwhile, the engines had to get their own trains, which gave them extra work. James Clifford's driver came extra early so he could shunt his coaches to the station. The mere thought caused dissatisfaction.
"I'm not hunting for my coaches,"
he declared.
"I will collect my train once it's ready at the station."
His driver tried to make him move, but he couldn't. With no choice, he had to inform Baron Starkey. After a severe telling off, he collected his coaches at once. When Misty arrived at the works, she joined lots of other diesels who were waiting to be fixed. It was very busy, and a strong stench of oil filled the air. The other engines were diesels, just like her. They were much bigger, and that made them very intimidating. After all, she was only a tiny, narrow-gauge engine. However, on the other track, she spotted another engine on a flatbed. It was small, just like her. "Hello, are you narrow gauge?" she asked politely. "Indeed I am. I work on a coal mine near Luton. Well, at least I did, before taking that horrible fuel, he replied. Well, nice to meet you. My name's Misty, she introduced. The engine chuckled. Well, I'm Mole. I was given that name because I work in the mine tunnels, which lead underground. One of the larger diesels had enough of their chit-chat.
Keep it down, you two,
It groaned.
I'm too sick to listen to chattering.
Tell you what, we'll whisper instead, suggested Mole. Both little diesels told each other about their jobs and where they work. Mole was astonished after learning about Misty. You arrange trains for all those engines? I hope they thank you, he gasped. Misty thought for a moment. You know, I don't think they ever do, she said. But that doesn't matter. It's my job after all. A few hours later, some of the diesels started chattering.
It's nearly 3 o'clock,
one of them said with dread. What happens at 3 o'clock? asked the bemused Misty. Mole sighed. It's not what happens, it's who, he said. A few minutes later, an engine arrived at the station with his train. He glanced over at the engines and sniggered. The sick diesels waiting to be mended. Oh, what a wonderful sight! And look! A little blue one has also joined the waiting list. He teased in a horrible manner. Once the passengers boarded, the engine left. Misty was flabbergasted at the encounter. What a horrible engine, she shouted. A diesel spoke up.
He calls himself the Master of Steam. One of the most unpleasant engines one could meet. Full of malice and hatred of us diesels,
he told. Why does he hate diesels? Is it because our fuel smells? She asked. My friend James Clifford sometimes complains about mine.
No, nothing to do with smelly fuel. Us diesels are modern and cheaper to run than steam engines. The Master of Steam sees us as a threat, a possible replacement of the greats who have served the railways,
he explained. As the days passed, more engines were worked on, but it was nowhere near Misty's turn. Each day at 3 o'clock, the Master of Steam would arrive at the station and say horrible, disturbing things to the engines. Misty found him very scurry indeed. On the little Highland railway, Misty's absence left a huge void. Even James Clifford missed their banter in the sheds.
You know, Peggy, I do miss Misty getting my own trains. Shunting them myself reminds me of when I worked on my old railway,
said Lyndon. I did the same on this railway many years ago, but having a station pilot makes our work much easier, she said. Lyndon started feeling a little guilty. We always expected our trains to be waiting for us. Misty worked hard day and night arranging them. I feel that we never truly appreciated all she did for us. One cold night, the workshop was finished for the day. Everyone was away home to their cozy houses. As Misty slept, her restless mind journeyed to the land of dreams. To her joy, she was back home, her wheels once again on the rails. Arriving at the station, she received a nasty shock. Sitting on the tracks was the Master of Steam. He glared at her as she gazed at him in terror. "How are you here? We run on different gauges," she gasped. "Standard gauge, narrow gauge, it doesn't matter. Nothing can keep me away from this railway. Soon your friends shall be my friends, and you will be despised by all," he declared. Suddenly, Misty woke up. "Ow! Ow! It was only a dream," she said in relief. "Whatever is the matter?" asked Mole. Misty told him all about the dream. "I'm sure you think I'm silly," she assumed pathetically. "Of course not. We're out of our comfort zones, so the smallest of things can be very frightening," he assured. Misty still wasn't sure. "But he will come again at 3 o'clock," she reminded. Mole sighed gently. "Listen, Misty, that Master of Steam can talk all he wants, but he's an engine controlled by a driver. He may look scary and say horrible things, but that's as far as it goes. He can't harm us," he declared. Meanwhile, Fred was thinking about Misty. He missed her too. "I hope Misty's okay, Dahlia. She's alone and by herself. Maybe I will pay her a visit," he decided. Dahlia agreed and replied with a loud moo. Soon it was almost 3 o'clock. The Master of Steam was due any time. "Remember, Misty, be brave. He's only an engine," urged Mole. Before long, he stopped at the station. "Ah, the oil drums and wheels are not mended yet. This proves that you're the biggest mistake in railway history," he announced. Misty tried to stay brave. "Listen, sir, we run on rails and pull trains. We're all the same," she stated. "How dare you! It's not sir. You refer to me as master. And no, we're not the same." His driver had had enough and confronted him at once. "Sylvester Pockywoggle, I'm sick and tired of the poison that spurs from your mouth. Keep quiet and do your work," he scolded fiercely. Misty and Mole laughed. "Is that your real name?" he teased. The Master of Steam didn't utter another word and was soon on his way. Just at that, Fred entered the yard. "Hello, my loyal shunter. I see you've made a friend." "Oh, Fred, am I glad to see you," she said happily. He listened with great interest as she told him all about her time at the works. However, he had good news for her. "I was talking to one of the workmen, and you're both nicks to be mended, and will leave the yards tomorrow morning," he revealed. Mole and Misty were delighted. "I will miss you, Mole. You have been a great friend, she said emotionally. We may not see each other again, but we will always be friends, he told her. Friends for life, replied Misty. Finally, Misty returned the Carlow yards. The engines cheered loudly when she arrived.
We missed you so much,
said Lyndon. Peggy agreed. The railway almost fell apart without you.
Getting on own coaches was not fun,
added Gunter.
Never leave again.
Misty had never been so happy. Such a homecoming it was. The engines now appreciate just how much she does for them.